Alrighty, welcome to Let's Get At It with Drew Ruckham. Today I'm here with Nolan Weiss, co-founder of Reco, a recovery brand that is here to make good recovery products affordable because everybody deserves to have a healthy and recovered body. Nolan, thanks for joining.
Thank you so much for having me. Love that intro.
Yeah. All right. So I'm going to start you off with a little ice-breaking question. And it's not like if you were stranded on an island, what would be the one dermatology product you'd bring? If I gave you $50,000 and I told you you needed to make $1 million in 60 days, where are you going? Who are you doing it with? And how are you doing it?
I have $50,000. I need to make $1 million.
Yep. I believe that would be 20xing your money in 60 days. Who,
20xing my
how,
money.
and where?
That's a really tough question there. Because I think I would take my money, and this is tough. $1 million, bro. I mean, if I had the answer, I would be doing it right now.
Exactly. But I want to see where your train of thought goes. Like, where do you think when it comes to...
Yeah, let me put it in terms of my business so that I can think it out clearly with myself.
Please.
I would take the $50,000. I would spend it on tricking out we do a lot of conferences where we do recovery pop-ups, bring all of our products launch, showcase them. And some of these conferences can be pretty lucrative clients where they're building state-of-the-art facilities, fitness, health, wellness, studios, facilities. And these deals could be, 6 figures each. So if I spent maybe like K on 5 different of these big conferences on these health and fitness shows where the majority of the audience are the owners and operators of these companies that are building out these massive complexes, I think that could return me $1 million down the line. The business to business is actually, I don't know if I would be able to complete it in that time frame, but we would have to get lucky with a few contracts.
Sure. I mean, look, half the battle is putting yourself out there to get that luck. But that's a great answer. You hit on one of those 5. Now you got a little more bankroll to roll for some more conferences. And now it's just a matter of scale.
Yep.
And who are you doing it with?
So I'm going to do it with my co-founder, Daron Pakravon.
That segues me into my next question. And that is, how important is your co-founder to you? What's that dynamic been like?
Yeah, it's extremely important, and we're best friends. We started this business together while we were still at college, senior year, living together, and you get a lot of advice and always hear the horror stories of going into business with friends or family, how that can turn sour, ruin your relationship. But the reason I felt comfortable, and I think him the same way, is like we have such a close bond and very similar values, visions, and goals for what we want out of this life. And we're very open and transparent with each other. Like it wouldn't be sort of that passive aggressive, like uncomfortable conversation things that happen when relationships turn sour. Like we're very on the same page with how we communicate with each other. And there was a stint in our business. He's at law school at Pepperdine, which is creating a very important asset for us in our business, having that law background. Even the way he like critically thinks about everything in our business has improved. But obviously the first year or the first semester, most importantly, is very tough on law students. So he couldn't be 100% present in the business. And when he came back, it wasn't even like a 2x return on like productivity and scale that we did. It was like 10x. And I like the productivity. And I think I heard you say it now that it comes to mind of the mammoth analogy. It was either you or I heard it on another podcast or video where like one mammoth could hold, I'm getting these numbers wrong, but 2,000 tons, but 2 mammoths can pull 10,000 tons. So that's a good analogy to put that into perspective where like when we're working on it together and firing, it's not just double the amount that's getting done. It's like 10x speed, productivity, and just growth.
It's amazing. I mean, it sounds like you guys complement each other's weaknesses and strengths, and the ability to ride the ups and the downs with each other are great. And look, it's a testament to be able to live with somebody through school go through a fraternity with them. It's not like this is foreign to you guys. And I feel this really well with Alec because Alec and I, look, I had plenty of friends at school, but not all of them are guys that I'd want to go into business with or just that they want to go into business with me. It has to be a relationship. It feels like a marriage, does it not?
Yeah, yeah, totally agree. And the reason like we kind of blended with each other too is, not everybody is built for entrepreneurship. Like, and I have a ton of friends, like they need the structure, they need the corporate, like they need to be told what to do. And like from experiences with Daron, and I've been a part of a couple startups, like he's just the kind of guy that just like gets shit done and makes shit happen. And that's kind of a big quality that you need as an entrepreneur to be like scrappy and like find a way to make things happen without a guideline or structure or someone telling you exactly step 1 through 10 of how to land a deal or something like that. So those are kind of the attributes I saw in him that would make him a leader and somebody that's just a natural born winner.
Yeah, you're making me get fired up for Daron. I've met him and I have a far better relationship with you just because we've talked a little bit over the past 2 years. But Daron is somebody where it sounds like he's putting his best foot forth in that law degree. That is amazing. I did not know that he was at law school. And to be able to do that on top of being a co founder, but to have the faith that you'll pick up wherever he's not able to do it. And the hearing that you guys go 10x when he comes back is fantastic.
Yeah. And it also helps that Reco is what he and I both, that's our main focus and what we want to do. He's not trying to compete with his fellow law students because it's very competitive for the grades and for applying to jobs. So he doesn't put his, 100% full effort into it. And still he's like performing top of the class and like his classmates hate him for that because he's not getting into law. He's doing Reco. But yeah, it's been great to kind of just live out that journey with him.
Amazing. I honestly think that if I didn't have Alec there, I probably would have failed already. I mean, I've done entrepreneurship and I've had my own business without him. And I'm able to exceed in some different crevices of the business, but then there's so many different cracks that don't just exist, but they just continue to open up if they're not patched. And you just need to have the other people there to keep you in check. And sometimes I feel like if I was just me, there's no way I'm able to go down this path. Alec has learned at a tremendous rate, and I'm sure that you feel the same with Daron. It's great to hear that you have that is what's like the key differentiator and how I know that you guys will be able to sustain.
Yeah. Yeah. I honestly couldn't imagine going at it alone. Definitely would be a lot more lonely. And, just someone not going to war, but like to go to war with
Every
and
day.
like live through it together. It's been a blessing.
Right. So you are somebody that entirely is focused on the body with recovering the body. And it's probably very easy for you to see tangible success in terms of enjoyment that people are able to get out of Reco. I've seen it in some of your videos. What was the first or the best magical moment for Reco where you were like, I'm on my way. This is how I know I'm doing what I need to be doing.
Yeah, a lot of those have come. The first one to come to mind, I'll get to in a second. But the reason I think I take this for granted a little bit of building in the health and wellness space is we're not shilling some BS product, selling products that are actually helping people, actually changing lives and keeping people healthy in the gym. And especially with the saunas and cold plunges now, like that's adding years and time to people's lives.
Yeah.
And it like some of our products are a religion for some people. Every single day they're using something we created. So it's been crazy to put that into perspective and to like see that out in the wild from random people. But the moment that like really hit me was back in, I believe, October 2024, where we got our first big university deal. So we supply many college athletic programs, gyms, physical therapy centers, wellness studios. sports teams, but the first big college that actually believed in us, purchased our products, was none other than the University of Michigan. The basketball team, we've been connected for a long time, and they were ready to invest in the recovery and into their players, because if they're not on the floor healthy, they can't perform at their best, they can't get the best results. So they ended up purchasing a pair of leg compression sleeves for each guy on the team, bunch of other things for the training room and to have on the road with them. And I hand delivered everything, packed all the products they got into my car, drove 10 hours from New York to Michigan. And it was like in that locker room when I was setting everything up, putting everything in each guy's locker, where I was like, that was always like a dream of ours to, as students at Michigan, involved, friends with a bunch of the athletes, to supply Michigan athletics. And it was a weird feeling once it got done. And it was very early on. I was ecstatic, but then probably like 30 minutes into it, I felt so unsatisfied, because in the grand scheme of things, this was nothing. Like, this was the tip of the iceberg, and I just wanted to replicate that times a million. So it left me very motivated, but that moment I'll always remember forever as just like giving me a taste of what's possible and wanting to scale that feeling that I had initially going into it. So that, I would say, was like a defining moment of like, this was awesome and this is what I want to do. And getting in the door at Michigan, now bringing that to every other pitch, every other sales call, every other conversation,
That's
just
huge.
gets us in the door immediately and instant credibility. They're one of the most storied historical programs in college basketball and college athletics. So if they're using it and trusting us, anyone can. So that was a big moment for us.
So would you say that you account for a little bit of the success of Michigan's basketball program since those sleeves? Because since then, the program has actually skyrocketed in success.
Yes. So the stat is Michigan basketball finished last in the Big Ten, and then they invested in Reco, and they then won the Big Ten ship at the end of that year. And unfortunately, the March Madness run got cut short, but now they're the number 2 team in the country, and pretty favored to make a pretty awesome run. Their team is killing it. But I say that in a joking way.
Of course. I mean,
It's all in the players. They hired Dusty May. I think they had like 10 out of like the 15 people on the team transferred in. So I have no credit. They have a great staff there, new strength coach as well. Shout out Matt Aldred. In a joking way and for marketing purposes, I'll say Rico brought this team from last in the Big Ten to the championship, but it really wasn't. It wasn't us. It was all the guys and the people in that building. And I was always rooting for them, die hard, but now it's knowing the people in the building and having relationships with them just makes it that much sweeter and more attached. I'm tuned in every game.
amazing. And so now, I mean, we'll ride with the fact that Rico has some of the success, and if there's a natty at the end of this season, Rico will definitely be on that trophy some way, shape, or form. Have you noticed or seen Rico, the logo, the leg sleeves, the Theraguns in a place just organically? Like, I remember at school, when I sold T-shirts with, Ruckum tees and Ruckum hoodies, and it didn't really get that much farther out of my circle. And there'd be times where I'd like walk past some random person in the diag, and they're wearing the hoodie, and I'm like, "Hey, I like your hoodie," and they're like, "Thanks." Have you had any of those moments on a small scale, maybe even a large scale?
Yes, definitely. It's been happening more and more, which is like, that's my favorite part. A lot of times it'll be friends out in the wild and they'll just send me like the product sitting in a gym or something like that. It happens a lot when we do events. We do a lot of like the in-person events, recovery pop-ups. I mentioned conferences before, but we also do like fitness competitions, marathons, different tournaments, basketball tournaments. And a lot of people will come up to me and be like, "Oh, I have one of these. Like, you're Rico?" And that's like the best part, where they didn't even know like who I was or what the brand was and just randomly purchased. Also, this like another one was like a famous like finance guy on Twitter. He had like a couple 100,000 followers and just posted a picture of him in the sauna hat, and to his followers just say like, "Oh, now I'm a professional, got this sauna hat on," and it's just our logo plastered on it. So that's one of the coolest things, and still like something that it's hard to grasp, like something that we created and I shipped out myself, And what I see is just a name and an address on a shipping label, but like it's actually getting into a human's hands and like they're using it, they're talking about it. So it reminds you just the importance also of like quality and making sure that you're following up on everything you're promising for the delivery because they're going to talk about it, they're going to share it. It's going to be seen by people all over the country in the most random places.
Amazing. I mean, you're well on your way, it sounds like. It's really cool to have seen this journey thus far, and this can be a time capsule for just kind of a stick in the middle of this long, drawn out journey that is, you know, yet to even come to even close to its peak. All right, so we've talked a little bit about Reco, and I want to hear a little more about Nolan Weiss, the founder, because we mentioned this at the beginning of it. You mentioned this, and it's this fact that entrepreneurship isn't for the faint heart. It needs self-structuring. And so my question to you is, what do you do on the daily that separates you from the rest? How did you learn about this? And how do you tell those around you, maybe like a drone, to get on board because you think that this is revolutionary?
So what am I doing on a daily basis? I think it's just like not being, a philosophy I like to do or like to say and get people to believe is like, you can just do shit. Like you can do whatever you want. You can create whatever you want. Everyone puts a lot of limits on themselves and what they're able to do and create. But like, if you just put an idea out into the universe, you can make it happen. So I think a lot of, manifestation, goal setting, vision, and like really feeling the feelings that come from achieving the goals that you set out for. And Daron and I are pretty aligned on that like spiritual aspect and do believe that comes true. And it's more to that though. A good analogy was Stephen Bartlett gave me, Diary of a CEO podcast. That's one of my favorite podcasts. I've probably learned the most in business and philosophy from that. There's this idea about manifestation. When you write down a goal, it's like you're going on a long car drive and you set the navigation to your destination. It's not just going to magically take you there. You have to get in the car, you have to make the turns, you have to drive yourself to that location.
You have
So
to
you
be
can't just
patient in the car.
Yes, you can't just write down your goal and expect it to happen because of quote unquote manifestation. You have to do the work and do the actions. And that's kind of what the physical science behind manifestation is once you put it out into the world, you're subconsciously going to make the right moves and right actions that will take you to that goal. So whether you realize it or not, after you write that goal, that is in the back of your brain of like that, this is what I want to achieve. And this is how I'm going to act in order to get to that goal. It's important to not just set the navigation, but actually put the foot on the gas and go.
Yeah. It's like reverse engineering from where the destination is set. I saw a
Yeah.
cool video the other day of just some guy talking in the snow. I don't know if you've seen it, but it went a little viral on Reels, and it was just a guy talking about how when you set that destination on your GPS, like you just said, and you make the wrong turn, the GPS does not scream at you, nor does it tell you that you're a failure and you should go back to square one. It just reroutes you, and it lets you maybe adjust the ETA, and all you have to do is just keep going. So you mentioned spirituality, and that's the reality of why I'm here. I'm genuinely curious about this one question because I truly believe that behind every founder is an even deeper belief in something that is holy, that is infinite, and that guides them. What guides you?
Guides me? That's a good question. I think I developed this over time. I went through a little bit of a transformation like this into, I guess, adulthood throughout like from really like sophomore year of college on, where I just got obsessed with like self improvement and just having a drive and motivation to, achieve a life that I dream of. So I think just having those goals in mind is really what gets me up in the morning, gets me fired up and of like I'm building something. When you think about it more like a video game and you're just completing levels and all these different tasks are required to start leveling up, it gives a good visual for how you can get to the places that you dream of, the places you write down in your journal and dream about.
Amazing. When you talk about, so you're very goal oriented, and that's what it sounds like.
Yeah.
And when you achieve something like getting into the Michigan locker room and being able to get leg compression sleeves on all of their legs, but then also feeling that sense of unsatisfaction, like, cool, I did it, but there's more, and I want that. How do you deal with the short term, high time drive success versus the grand scheme? How do you stay present, and what keeps you in a peaceful state of mind?
Yeah, this was actually something I battled very much so in the first like year of the company. It takes a long time to grow a really solid brand. I've heard executives, and I don't remember exactly who. I think Jesse Itzler is a big part of this conversation of like
He's great.
it takes 8 years to build a brand. And I think in that first year, what I learned through experience, but also what I've heard is you can't get too high and you can't get too low, because if you get too high at that moment in the Michigan locker room, then the next week there's no inbound, there's no progress, then you're just going to reach that low point, you're going to want to quit, and that's where a lot of people turn around. So, it's very important to just not get complacent. It's very important to acknowledge wins and celebrate them, but complacency is also something that kills. So staying steady throughout the process and not getting too high, not getting too low when things are going well or things are going poor, I think is a very good sign and telling of entrepreneurs that can really take it the distance. And it took me a year of going through those ups and downs of like where we would have successful months, and then other months it's a lot quieter, and you decrease production of what just happened, and that's tough to deal with, but that's how you withstand the test of time, by getting through those moments.
Love it. And on the day to day, segueing from that, what's your go to activity to allow yourself to wind down? Reco is built on physical recovery, but there's also a big component with the mental and the spiritual recovery, as you talk about here. And when we're talking about acknowledging wins, not getting too high, not getting too low, what makes you feel satisfied at the end of the day? And then what activities do you like to do to make sure that you can be recharged?
Yeah, so this is another important thing, and it differentiates with a lot of entrepreneurs, I feel. There are the entrepreneurs that are workaholics and won't stop working until 4 a.m. I am the opposite of that, and I think that leads to, at least for me, some people, and I think this is for the majority, I don't think this is sustainable, of like the workaholic working until 4 a.m., only sleeping a couple hours. I am very intentional about being balanced. And the counter argument is like in the startup world, like you can't sleep. If you want to grow and grow fast, like you need to be working 18-hour days. But I feel like for me, it's about longevity and sustainability in this. And I've definitely gone the months or the weeks where I'm balls to the wall. But I notice that when I'm more balanced and take care of my health, which is very important to me, that's the number one priority, is my health and wellness and getting sleep. That allows me to put in my best hours of work every day, because there's also a threshold of how many hours of pure work that you can do in a day. And that might be like, you might be working 18-hour days, but you're really only getting meaningful work done for like 4 or 5 hours of that. The other is just you're not focused, you're not at your peak cognitive ability.
You
So
can't be.
you can't be. So balance is extremely important for me. I get to bed at reasonable hours and I work out a lot. And I don't want to say endurance athlete, but I ran a
You've run
marathon
a
last.
marathon.
I ran a marathon, and then I did an Ironman 70.3 in September. Still, I'm in the mode right now where I'm pivoting and seeing what my next move will be. But I'm always in the gym. I'm always recovering. The sauna is really what changed my life and why I wanted to get into this business. So I try to sauna every single day. And that's really the best activity I can do to really mentally reset, refocus, and just clear my mind.
Amazing. I love it, Nolan. You are the definition of a founder who practices what he preaches. It's hard for somebody to take advice from a recovery athlete that hasn't run a marathon and knows how to recover from it. You know, It's like you're blowing smoke up my butt and just trying to make a dollar. So I really love the fact that you have a vision, and not only do you have a vision, but you put your money where your mouth is, and you really embody what it means to be one of the founders of Reco. And so, as we come to this point where we're at the 27-minute mark of the pod, I'd just like to say thank you so much for coming on. This is amazing. I'm happy that I'm able to provide some level of platform for you to put this out there, or at least just to get this off your chest, because I think it's very lonely to be a founder sometimes. And even the people who are at the top, people who are at the beginning, or somewhere in between, it's hard to just sit there, acknowledge those wins, acknowledge how far you've come. You know, that song where it's like, once I was 7 years old, I mean, I was doing nothing at 7 years old. I was watching Disney Channel, and I was, eating cereal all day. And it's crazy how far we've really come in this process, not just since we've been seven, but since we put that first foot forward. And so the last question that I have for you, and that I'm curious with all founders, is do you have any regrets? If so, what are they? And if not, why?
I don't have any regrets. I don't like to like use the word regret. There's a quote, it's so cliche, but there's a reason it's cliche. It's sometimes you win, sometimes you learn. So instead of regrets, it's just moments, and this mindset frame is just so important with anything you're doing. Is like if you're dwelling on a mistake you made, that you're not going to move forward and learn from it. So you just have to treat it as an experience and something that you're going to grow from and not let it happen again, hopefully. But that was a quote that was like on one of my friends' walls in their apartment when they were studying abroad, that was just built in there. So yeah, I don't like to use the word regret because it's always a learning experience, something you can grow from, and um, something that will make you better.
Love it. What's your goal? Where do you want to be in 6 months, a year, 5 years, and let's call it 25 years?
That's loaded, man. That's
It's
loaded.
a loaded question.
Yeah. Well, Rico is my number one priority right after, family and health. But in my career, I want to just continue growing Rico to new heights. I want to be in every collegiate locker room. I want to be the go-to for any gym, facility, wellness studio that's popping up. And our goal is to kind of be like a more one-stop shop for recovery. So we have everything from the massage guns to now the saunas and cold plunges. We want to eventually build that out to cover the full spectrum. So it's all under one roof and we can successfully build out these new state-of-the-art facilities with all of our different products that are helping people live better, feel better, and live longer. So that's what we're all about. But on a personal level, I just want to continue to, keep leveling up, keep improving, and taking care of the people around me. That's most important.
Sure. Have you ever considered with Rico, since you're making these people's lives more sustainable, to having like a Rico Run Club, or, a Rico Discord for people to share their share their achievements and all that stuff?
Yeah, I've actually always thought about that. And I haven't, I honestly haven't thought about it, acting on it in a while. At the beginning, I really did, because they're big. I have my own group chats with my friends where we do like check-ins, like every time you're in the gym, like you send a picture and it just motivates those who might not have gotten up or went to the gym to get after it. And that was like one of the first ideas I had, is like having like a hashtag Rico check-in, like where you like checking into the gym where you scan your barcode. It's you check in with Rico, make sure you're getting after it, achieving your goals. So that's definitely something that we always encourage. And I think something I left out point of like the founder embodying our mission. Our mission is to promote healthy and disciplined lifestyles. And through the emphasis of recovery and taking care of your body to achieve that, so that you wake up the next day and you don't feel, oh, I'm sore, I'm not going to get back after it. So you use these tools to get back in the gym on your run the next day. And yeah, it wouldn't make sense if me, the founder, was a little bit of a slob and not achieving those goals himself. So it also puts a little pressure on me that I have to strive for that dream physique or different endurance challenges like that, which I like. But I do those for me, not just for the brand, but it's good marketing.
Of course.
But yeah, that pretty much sums up what we're doing.
I love it. What a beautiful mission to be able to just know that you are impacting others' lives and your mission is altruistic. It's a team game and it's a long game. And I love how Reco's embodied that. So, Nolan, thank you so much for being the first guest on Let's Get At It. Thank you for getting at it with me. And I hope to continue to see Reco growing and build up some capital to where I can actually invest in some compression leg sleeves, because whenever I run, I get some bad shin splints. I was a catcher my whole life, and so like I always have to modify a lot of things there. But I am big in wellness, discipline, meditating, yoga, and all that jazz.
Yeah, your knees will need it after all that catching. But yeah, it's an honor to have me on. I'm excited to see this podcast grow, to see Aditt grow, and we'll sign back on for an episode 2 after a year and we'll see how far we've come.
Love it. All right, Nolan, thank you so much.
Thank you, Drew. See ya.
See ya.